that delicioso, dude. Delicioso. Special guest. Oh yeah. Yeah, she's allergic to sour cream. JK, goodbye.
He just tried to kill me.
I did.
Welcome to the first episode of Cooking It, where we're bringing back family dinners. So grab a seat, grab a plate, and let's eat. Now introducing your host, the Cheeky Goat.
Body roll.
Okay. You know what? I know you're streaming. Let me just start making noise now.
For Otis, he has to eat.
He can eat cold dog food. He'll live. He's a dog.
He cannot eat cold dog. Why would you give him
Tell the
cold?
people. Tell them. I love cold dog food. It's my favorite. So I like adding a little bit of spice to my meals no matter what. Even if it's not super spicy, I like having some form. Some more onion. So I'm gonna grab another. I had an extra backup onion. Always have a backup onion. I never said I was a chef. I'm just here cooking. Himalayan pink rock salt. And then we got freshly cracked black pepper. I'm gonna put it on top. And I'm Indian, so we gotta add spice. So we're gonna start with cumin. I really just like the smell of cumin, to be honest. And then we're gonna add a little bit of cayenne. Just a little. I don't want it to be too spicy, but I love the aroma. You're getting hungry. So I don't wanna over spice.
Oh my god, he on
toss
X
these.
Games mode.
And then I'm just gonna give it one more twist of salt and pepper. I'm not gonna add any other spices because I'll add those on the shrimp as well. But I want these flavors to really cook into the veggies and the oil and really mix in there. Biting to them, they're still crunchy. I want them to kind of. Oops. Got myself some pasta water here. So I'm gonna add some of the pasta water into this. Okay. And I'm gonna go ahead and add a little bit of chopped garlic to it. Just a tad, just like that. I don't want to overpower it because there's a lot of garlic on the shrimp. Come on. We're gonna go ahead and add them to the shrimp again so all that flavor gets mixed up. So the shrimp is now grilled, has a lot of butter in there. We're gonna go ahead and mix that up. Looking pretty saucy. So if you guys want to get your dinner ready, we can have dinner together, I suppose. Eh? Look at that. Like, well, they're just like, this is virtue signaling, and I'm like, sure, I'm not going to deny it's virtue signaling, but you have to see the positive in this, which is like now kids who look like me essentially feel represented. And he's like, yeah, but you know, people are more than just their skin tone. Like, there's more to them, your morals and your ideology. And I was trying to discuss with him, and I was like, look, morals and ideology describe your character. Identity is defined by a number of ways. And I think everyone identifies differently. Some people identify by their sexuality, but everyone's identity is a mixed thing, right? It's like things you don't like, things you love, things you do, things you don't do. While you might not think race is an important factor, the fact is that anyone from any demographic, even outside of race, each person has a collective conscience, meaning brown people have a similar experience all around the US. Black people have a similar experience all around the US. So like there's like something not race related, like kids who are into punk and they're like, you know, mohawks and all that shit, they have a collective conscience. Like they have things, and that's why my memes are possible. Consent is simple and tricky. It's simple in the sense that, you know, it should be clear cut when you have consent, and that you should always respect someone's decisions and their right to their own body when you're looking for consent. And that means for any kind of physical touch, whether it be a hug or a kiss or anything. There's literally nothing wrong with asking. There's nothing wrong with asking. You should always be looking for, obviously, a verbal cue of consent. You should be paying attention to body language. You should pay attention to enthusiasm. All those things matter, and there's literally nothing wrong with saying, can I have a kiss, or do you mind if I kiss you? You're in a room with someone you like, and they turn to you and say, hey, you know, I like you, can I kiss you? Do you think that ruins the kiss for you? You're happy you're getting kissed. But let's say you don't like someone and they kiss you without consent, well then now you're in a very uncomfortable position. Getting that consent verbally, I think, is very important. It doesn't kill the magic. It doesn't make it awkward. If anything, the one thing I've learned as I've gotten older, especially being intimate with women, is that having the comfortability in that moment is what makes it sexy, is what makes it feel good. knowing that you're safe and no one's gonna hurt you is what matters. Be respectable, and yeah, it's really that simple. Like straight up, it's really just that simple. And here's the thing: if you ever find yourself either while something's happening or before doubting that there's consent, it's okay to stop. It's okay to stop. I would rather stop doing something, feel like there's no consent, even if the other person is fine with it, than do it and then not be comfortable. Because whether you had positive sexual experiences or intimate experiences or not, you know how uncomfortable it is when someone doesn't respect you. There's a forest in front of you. There's a lot of dead trees in there. There's a lot of dead animals in there. But if you pay attention to the trees as individual units, as problems, as opposed to looking at the forest as a beautiful work of nature that houses life and brings life and creates air and the beauty that is nature, well, then you're going to be fucked. If you can't change it, and you can't change it reasonably, accept it and move on. If you can change it, like for example, if you're underweight and you want to gain weight or lose weight, that's something you can do, then do it. If you don't want to do it, expect the consequences. It's a general statement, and this isn't about body shaming or anything like that, so before anyone gets on my case, I want you to understand that, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. It just happens to be that certain types of beauty are held in more eyes than others. I realized, I was like, okay, I'm tall, I'm like 6'2", but I wasn't muscular, and I was like, okay, well, here's the thing. I want to be in a position where more people find me attractive. So what am I going to do? So I thought, okay, well, people who attract people tend to be in good shape. So I was like, cool, I'm going to work out. And I noticed as soon as I started getting results from working out, I started getting more female attention. The thing about working out though is there's going to be a certain point in your journey where you'll have like a no progress point, small progress, and then you'll just notice one day it'll be hella progress, and your chart will kind of go like this. It'll pick up like this, then you'll have this like up, and then it'll plateau again. This is the hardest part about working out. You'll hit this spot where like for a solid couple weeks, a month, you're like not getting any stronger, you're not getting any bigger, and that's challenging, and you just have to redo your workout. Like I've always said that your plate should look colorful. You should have lots of colors on your plates. Like you should have multicolored vegetables. It's good to have dark green veggies. It's good to have whole wheat. I would say if you're trying to eat healthy, get rid of any kind of white bread that you have. Don't eat white bread. It's fucking so bad for you. Try to stick to whole grain rice, brown rice. Eating a lot of dark leafy green stuff like spinach, kale. Cheat days are necessary. It's a fallacy that you should always be, unless it's your job to be in shape and like, you're a bodybuilder or something, like cheat days are something you should have. It's not bad to have cheat days. Now granted, if you're doing bodybuilding shows and stuff like that, you probably shouldn't. But if you're just trying to be in shape and have a healthy lifestyle, like you're allowed to have cheat days. That men aren't supposed to cry because it's like the manly thing to do. And that's just a falsehood. Like, I'm sure you guys have heard the term toxic masculinity, and a part of toxic masculinity is how your masculinity affects others, but it's toxic also means it's toxic for you. Masculinity in and of itself isn't bad. There's societal structures that kind of tell us what being a man is like, and some of them are good, and some of them are good, but they're implemented wrong, and that strong, resilient man who never cries and blah, 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 blah. I mean, that's just ridiculous to never cry. There's nothing wrong with crying. There's nothing weak about crying. A lot of the societal structures we have in place, especially in regards to gender, are just, they're fake. They're just societal fake structures. So the last time I cried was last year in December. I was living with 4 roommates. One of my roommates was getting super toxic and made my life a living hell, and like my apartment was filthy and dirty, and I was also trying to get this dream off the ground and, you know, try to get affiliated. So I was working like sleepless nights. I was super stressed. I was also working my job, trying to work out, have a girlfriend. And I remember at a certain point, like my desire to like have, and we can talk about it this way, my desire to have sex was gone. Like, I just didn't want to have sex. I wanted to, but like I couldn't. And it wasn't even an issue of like ED, it was just like mentally. And I remember talking to my girlfriend about it, and I was literally talking, I was like, I don't feel like myself, like I feel very weird, like this is not who I am. And I started crying. I'm only really telling you guys that part of that story just so you feel normal about shit that's happening to you in life. The timeline on when you should be something is false. I mean, like, there's like Morgan Freeman wasn't famous until he was literally like 40. Same with Samuel L. Jackson. Like, there's hella people who don't make it until later in life in whatever way they want to make it. If you believe that you can become confident or even a little bit more confident, then you can do it, dude. Honestly, it's just that simple. If you can believe you can do something, then you just have to chip away at it slowly. Advice to anyone who's looking for a relationship: never chase the relationship, ever. Don't chase the idea of a relationship. Always chase the right person. Because when I first started dating, I wanted a girlfriend. And I just needed a girlfriend. I didn't want a particular person. So I went and got a girlfriend, and I was like, and I tried to make it work, and it didn't. It used to 100% bother me, especially when it came to dating. I thought it was very disrespectful. Those situations said more about the person doing the ghosting than the person getting ghosted. You feel me? So the person who is ignoring texts and the person who is making excuses, that's on them. That has nothing to do with you. At most, there's nothing wrong with you. That just means that that person isn't right for you. Bad situations where someone did that, and then they actually, the next time we rescheduled, actually hung out, wasn't weird, and then we became friends. But for the most part, especially at this time and age, I say fuck off. I don't actually say it. I just go, okay, well, you showed me how much you value my time, which is very low, and I don't have the energy to deal with you. And another thing I learned as I got older was just like, no one owes you shit. They really don't. I think they owe you basic decency, but they don't owe you shit. And they, like, you shouldn't expect everyone to operate on the same kind of like moral ground and same kind of like expectations that you would. So if someone ghosts you, at least they didn't do anything worse. All you have to do is never talk to them again. You know? It just means that that friendship wasn't meant to be right now. You are going through a phase in your life where you're kind of trying to change your identity from being an unconfident, out of shape guy to someone who's in shape, more confident, has a better hold of like being a better version of yourself. And in that process that you're going through, it's like the middle awkward part. Not everyone wants to be there for the process, and that's not their fault, and it's not your fault. It just means that at a certain point in your journey, you're gonna become more of how you see you than how other people see you, and the friendships and the people you meet, they're gonna gravitate towards that, and your friendships and your relationships will fall into order more naturally as opposed to being forced and dealing with people who don't respect you. Imagine rejection. I don't know. I think people put too much emotional weight with getting rejected.
There's no such thing as rejection, it's just redirection.
Did you guys hear that? So there's no such thing as rejection, just redirection. I have been rejected plenty. I've been ghosted plenty. As a result of being ghosted, I do my best to not ghost people. You're young, man. That doesn't mean that your experiences aren't valid. But just understand that rejection is a part of life and literally anything. In the same way that if I'm sure I could find 100 girls that you would reject, dude. I'm sure. There's a certain power that confidence holds over humans, and it's very interesting to get to that power. So again, I went from someone who lacked confidence, lacked good looks. It's like a year straight where I was like getting more confident and like practicing being confident, and I started to like legit see and feel the difference of how people treated me as a result of me just being confident. And it was fucking wild. It was such a massive difference in how people treated me that I was now able to understand why. The only thing stopping you from being confident in that regard, especially with dating, you have no idea how many years and girls that I spent as a younger guy just simping over and never expressing my feelings or being confident. The only reason was because I was so afraid of being rejected, because I put so much effort and emotional like weight into a person that I was like, if I come clean now, then they reject me, then it's all over. And the reality is, to me, the reality is that like you should just be confident and you should just express yourself and you should just get used to doing it. It's kind of like riding a bike. People can ride a bike on their first try. Cool, maybe you're really good at riding a bike. But most people are gonna fall. Now, if you were giving someone advice to ride a bike and they said, I fell, so I'm never gonna ride a bike again, you'd look at them and be like, why? That's very normal. It's part of the experience of learning to ride a bike. So just learn to get rejected. I literally, when I hang out with friends in real life and they've asked me similar advice, I tell them to go ask out a girl that is going to reject them. Sit with that for a minute. I would tell my friend to go ask out someone or flirt with someone that he knew that he was going to get rejected by. Because you have to get used to it.